Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be Khorne led by Bird, facing off against the High Elves, who shall be helmed by Death by Ricochet here on Scalandir's Cave. And let's go ahead and break down this Khornate army. So for Khorne to the front, it is going to be Marauders backed up by Chaos Warriors, or the other way around, Chaos Warriors backed up by Marauders. And yeah, presenting a shield wall in the front is usually pretty cost effective here. High Elves do love their skirmish. A lot of high-level High Elf players will use a lot of Shadow Warriors, and these days we're actually seeing Shadow Walkers as well. So having the Chaos Warriors of Khorne to just walk up and soak that damage is nice for getting the objective control. At the back, we do have a Minotaur of Khorne. You got to respect the High Elves have some dynamic play now. They do have things like Sea Elemental, Oceanids, and obviously a pretty good quality cavalry as well. So having a Minotaur in your army isn't the worst idea in the world. And it is going to be not Skulltaker, but the very cheap Herald of Khorne, which is good because he does have the Tormentor Sword. So obviously the Skulltaker himself is a little bit more of a grindy kind of fighter who you can put in more dangerous situations and have him fight big threats. You can with this as well, but really the benefit of this piece is the Tormentor Sword, so being able to lock down a big threat, let your Minotaurs get in, and also provide the AoE buffs with the Totem of Endless Bloodletting. So pretty cool. We do have Harambe as well, so Silent Angfingrim is here. That is the Rampaging Monkey of Khorne, and it's a pretty good SE fighter, honestly. I mean, you can get this thing up against like a Sea Elemental, and it's going to trade pretty well, and you could Rampage someone like Alistair and get some good picks. So that's going to be it for the Khorne army, with the exception of 2 Vanguards on the outside of Fleshhounds, which will grant them some battlefield control. Now for the High Elves here, it is going to be triple Reaver Archer. Khorne does present some light armor, between their Marauders, Fleshhounds, Furies, and some of their demons like Bloodletters, of course. The Reavers can do quite well, and they just give you a presence on the battlefield and some mobility, which, can let you threaten objectives at any time. Now, the Sea Elemental against Khorne, what does it really bring to the table? I was going to say, why is it doing fire damage? It's because he was flying under Alistair, which we'll show you in a minute. But yeah, Sea Elemental is pretty good against infantry. Against Chaos Warriors and Marauders, it's going to farm those things all day. What is it going to be weak against? Probably against throwing axes, other things. Some of the big Khorne anti-large fighters like Minotaurs would take into Pound Town as well. But yeah, very good against infantry. Oceanids in the back, and they are going to be rocking Silver and Guard in the company of Calandirian, so pretty good infantry core, and it does look like the High Elves and Death by Ricochet are going to be maneuvering towards objective 2 and 3, playing away from the main Khorne army, and just trying to get all 3 objectives here. So Alistair is a good fighter. He's got good stats, but really the main reason you bring him is because of the Ruby Guardian Phoenix. So this gives him flaming attacks, which isn't terribly relevant against Khorne, but flame resistance is. It does give him 20%, which if you look at the Khorne Lord, for example, it does fire damage here. So getting that fire resistance is not terrible. Minotaurs in the mix. Minotaurs of Khorne are very, very good because they have 70 armor compared to the Minotaurs of the Beastmen, which have like 35. So that makes them, fairly resilient against Illyrian Reavers, basic archers, and those type of things. Now, the mage is going to be a Henry Cavill. It's going to be a Lore Master of Hoth. He's going to be rocking the Blessed Tome, which is going to be giving a leadership buff to nearby units, and then does also have Earthblood as well. So a very good kind of blob fighter. Anytime you're expecting your opponent to engage your big main position, you just get that leadership aura and that cannot die aura as well. It's pretty good. So Reavers controlling the objectives, and 2 objectives do belong to the High Elves. Nothing going on in the woods. Honestly, just sending out a Spearman might not be a bad idea over here by Ricochet. Just getting a little bit of something going there, because Khorne is going to advance up and get objective 1, and the High Elves are going to need to get another one. Now, Alistair is certainly a world beater, not as much as Imric, but is a pretty good fighter. Imric, of course, has the Horn and the Lord of Dragons and a couple other abilities. Oh, this is really dangerous. Jumping in on Harambe like this, if Bird had really used that Rampage ability, Kill for Khorne, could have rampaged Alistair potentially and pulled him into the Minotaurs, and that could have been not... I still think he would have got away, but it would have been very rough. He would have lost like half his health. It would have been a big play, but I don't know, maybe he got knocked over and wasn't able to do it or something. But yeah, Harambe does get, knocked down there, but should be able to return. Meanwhile, the Khornate champions here, we do see the Chaos Warriors, I think, in the mix, yes, and 2 Marauder units going to be jumping up on that point to try and grab it. And all is calm. As the High Elves are calling in more and more elite units, we do see the Phoenix Guard on the way in. A decent choice here. The one thing that would be very problematic would be facing Bloodletters for Phoenix Guard. Like, Exalted Bloodletters will take them to Pound Town really badly. But aside from that, they can hang with, like, pretty much everything in this Khorne army. Forsaken on the way in, and in the woods, we do see a Khorngor waiting. I like this. Is he just ambushing? Yeah, like, leaving them. This is a really smart play by Bird. Basically, what you do is you get a defensive unit, you hide it, in the woods near the objective, and then your opponent's going to think they can ninja this objective for free, and they're going to take units away from the other part of the battlefield, and then you can pop out and defend it, and it really can screw up somebody's game plan. In a game mode where there is like a timer on your victory condition, that's very clever. All right, double Minotaur is going to be cruising up for a bruising, and the Fleshhounds of Khorne going to be maneuvering over there to support the Khorngors. Now, capture weight, of course, is a variable. Each of these Reavers is 4 capture weight, and the Khorngors are 5, so it's going to be 4, 8, 12 against 5. I don't know why the Khorngors aren't moving out. They probably should go out, and at the very least slow down the capture, allowing the Fleshhounds time to get there, but you could also just wait for the Horsemen to leave and then reclaim it instantly, which isn't a terrible idea. So now it looks like Khorne is going to be taking the fight here. Now, if I was playing against this High Elf build, I probably wouldn't try and engage them here. I would just play the other 2 objectives and try and out-mobility them using my, Harambe and the Herald of Khorne and the Minotaurs to cut them off in transition. I think that would be the play. So we're going to be seeing the Khorngors move out now. Fleshhound's going to be coming out to push as well. And it does look like the Marauders are now moving up, and we do get to see the big old Sea Elemental doing its thing. So it's getting its attacks in there and cooking up some of these Marauders. And with Alistar, that is going to be a lot of stopping power there. Well, the Phoenix Guard going to be bolstering the ranks here and making sure the flank isn't terribly devastating. But obviously, Marauders in the front having a pretty terrible time. And Oceanids will beat Chaos Warriors. It takes a long time because their damage output isn't insane and they lack AP. But even still, those Oceanids will be able to get the L-Boink on, and those Chaos Warriors will suffer. However, Minotaurs of Khorne will change the dynamic of that fight pretty badly. Minotaurs of Khorne are going to just dumpster Oceanids. Oceanids against large entities only have 24 melee attack, which is horrific. So they're really, really only good against infantry. But a good play by Ricochet. He pulls back and he sends in the Silverin Guard. At this point, turning the Oceanids around and fighting the Minotaurs on top of the spears probably would be the correct play. But just running away isn't terrible either and getting to the other side of the battlefield. So big blob fight going down here. Alistar is fighting against the Minotaurs of Khorne. We do have the Locust of Wrath ability, so their melee attacks are going to be pretty fat. A couple Oceanid reinforcements coming in, as well as Illyrian Reavers. And right now we see the Horse Archers being pursued by the Demons, which is going to be Furies as well as Fleshhounds, which honestly is a good thing for the High Elves, just to farm value off those pursuing light armored units. We'll see how it turns out. So back in the epicenter of combat, we do have a big kind of blob fight going down here. Khorne did manage to reclaim the outside objective and is going to be pushing for a triple cap here, which isn't a terrible idea. High Elves have a little bit of healing via the Henry Cavill, the Lore Master of Hoeth. And right here, the Oceanids are grinding down the Chaos Warriors a little bit. No, not so much. They just got here. Yeah, those are the ones that came from the other side, so they took some damage from the Minotaurs. Now back in the center mass, Alistair and the Sea Elemental trying to hold it down where they can, while the Herald of Khorne giving some huge buffs. All the Khorne units nearby really good to be feasting quite well, and Phoenix Guard holding on, as one of the Reavers is caught by a Fleshhound. Going to be a bad time for them. Reavers and Fleshhounds on the charge. The Reavers can do some damage, but in a fight where they get jumped like this, the Fleshhounds are going to be feasting on their souls. So Oceanids on the outside being caught up by the Fleshhounds a little bit, but running some interference. It looks like Alistair is going to be rotating to the outside, maybe to try and help against some of these demon units, and the elite High Elf position is holding. The Phoenix Guard afflicted by the Tormentor Sword there, but even still are holding quite well, while the Lore Master of Hoeth continues dropping Earthbloods, I would imagine. And High Elves using their mobility cord and into the side objectives is good. It's one of the things that they do have going for them is a lot of mobility here. Khorne does have some Khorngors AFK on the side there. And again, this would be like a good psychology tactic, hide them back in the trees, and later in the game, the High Elf player is going to be like, oh, I can get this, so I'll call something in to go get it, and then boom, you ambush them. It's little things like that can make big plays here. So in the middle point, High Elves were able to hold on to the objective, it looks like, and we do get the Marauder Horsemen coming out with throwing axes, which will be very, very good against a lot of the big targets. Chaos Warriors of Khorne and Harambe grinding well, throwing axes. It's just like every single one of those shots just straight up hit that tree. I think they were going after the Minotaurs, so a little bit tricky, but High Elf reinforcements going to be Oceanids, and Oceanids are good at grinding with infantry and do give High Elves a little bit of staying power, and they're a unit I've been warming up to quite a bit. I really disliked them when they first came out, thought they were pretty terrible, and they're still not like the best in class in terms of monstrous infantry, but you know what? We judge them too harshly. I think they're a viable unit, I really do. So this is a big play for the High Elves here. High Elves getting a pick on the Herald of Khorne would be quite nice, and he does have spear support as well, so some Silverins, and the Sea Elemental could be brought over here, although it looks like the Sea Elemental is having a mortal combat and just glitching out. The Matrix is breaking, and I think it's trying to get an attack there, I'm not sure. But yeah, battling against Silent Inkfingrim, and we'll see how that goes. Up in the sky goes the big man. Alistair is there, and the High Elves have kited the Khorngors off the objective and are shooting them with bows. Khorngors do have 16 armor, but still are a viable target for light bow fire. And with proper micro, though, Death by Ricochet could park a Reaver on each corner of the objective, and then the Forces of Khorne would not be able to capture it because they would out-capture him. And whichever one the Khorngor chases, you just run away with, and you can definitely keep that objective. It's very sweaty, requires a bit of micro, but is possible indeed. Khorne calling in Marauder Horsemen, which I think is a great call. Obviously, the High Elves don't really have much in the way of ranged outside of the Reavers, so parking a couple Marauder Horsemen throwing axes right here to throw at Imric and throw at the big Elemental are pretty good calls. There's a hell of a lot of Oceanids in here now. The sea is rising. The wrath of the oceans is upon us. And this Oceanid going to be moving around and supporting the, I believe, Company of Calendarian, who just broke. Unfortunately, only 14 of them left. And the objective is in the process of flipping. We do see the Blood God starting to get a little bit of momentum there. High Elves calling in Silver Helms to try and buffer that one out. On the outside, a little bit of a ninja attempt from some Reavers is a good call. And over here, we do see Khorne chasing where they can with their Fleshhounds. And this objective is probably going to be held by the High Elves. I think the Reaver Cav will eventually finish off the Khorne Gores and hold that objective there. So really, a lot of it's going to come down to the fate of Middle Earth here in the middle, as we basically have a land battle situation. 2 Oceanids. Writhing Mists activated. The block chance, I guess, will help against the throwing axes. And some of the Silver Helms that did come in from reinforcements were able to kind of circle around the flank and get on top of the Marauder Horsemen. So that's a very, very good play. Taking those throwing axes offline will let the Imric feast. Although still, we do see throwing axes being given very, very good orders here by Bird. So Bird is the word, and Bird is throwing into Alistair the White Lion here, who is going to be getting an Earthblood. Unfortunately for him, he is on fire. And Silver Helms definitely need to keep pursuing those Marauder Horsemen if they can. More Oceanids on the way in. Side objective is controlled by Ricochet. Middle objective is taken by Khorne. And out here, this objective is going to be swept up by the Furies. So Bird does call in some Furies from reserves. And they do chase down those Illyrian Reavers. So very, very good play there. So as it currently stands, Objective 2 is owned by Khorne. Objective 3 is owned by Khorne as well. And the points are relatively close. Still a very, very contested game here. So Harambe popping blood for Khorne and trying to rampage some of the Silver Helms here. And they are rampaging, but they're just attacking the Khorne Gore. So Harambe is going to be trying to close the gap right there. The Sea Elemental here, still in pretty damn good health. Thing is not taking a whole lot of damage. There's another wave of Oceanids going to be coming in, but the Oceanids will not be happy about fighting Minotaurs. You can see one unit of Oceanids here is in the process of crumbling as the Minotaurs take them to Pound Town. Throwing axes, doing what they can against the Elemental, but the healing has been pretty clutch this game. Ammunition on the Khorne units, looking a little bit sparse, but this one still has about half ammo. As the Blood Gods champions move in, the Minotaurs are just putting in so much work, man. Melting down these Oceanid units. One of them does get disintegrated, and we do have Silent Ankfingrim here as well, so Harambe is a very good fighter that can definitely punch through an Oceanid. And the Herald of Khorne, you just want to keep it nearby. Probably at its current health, just kind of have it sit near the Minotaurs to give them the buff. On the outside, Hyle's going to be trying to contest the point, but it does look like Alistair is wavering. Very, very low, getting attacked by Furies. I'm surprised he would be breaking. I mean, he does have about 1,500 HP. But landing on the ground, getting a little bit of support. If his Reavers do pile in and fight and help him out, he should be able to win this one and take down that Fury unit, which in the process is going to be giving the objective to Khorne. And this fight, for sure, should be an easy victory for the High Elves, despite him wavering. If those Furies get taken down and then the 2 Reavers as well as Alistair attack the Fleshhounds, that is going to be a High Elf objective. And the High Elves are currently ahead on points, not by the point, certainly by a point of no return or anything, but you know, it's a decent little situation. Marauder Horseman going to be coming over here to help out. Alistair is wavering at 15 leadership, but hanging in there, and certainly is doing some good damage. You can see the Fleshhounds taking some Star Dragon attacks, and the Marauder Horseman of Khorne going to be trying to get the KO on him. They do have a good charge bonus for a Skirmish Cav unit of 40, so they do come in, they get a break on the Reavers, which is very, very nice. And if Alistair does get surrounded by Fleshhounds, he could be taken out. You can see a lot of his HP is getting chunked. Khorne, you know, Skirmish Cav, 44 weapon strength or something like that. It is no joke. And Alistair, you know, being tired, does lower his armor down. And now he's going to be breaking. That could be a game-winning play from Khorne. That is pretty damn big. Back in the center, though, the Herald of Khorne also getting broken by the Sea Elemental and the Henry Cavill here. All right. So Minotaurs moving in. There are some spears. The Silvern Guard, one of the more stalwart units in the game here, are going to be forming ranks and poking at the big Minotaurs. The Minotaur's armor certainly will help against the small arm spear fire, but we do also have a Lore Master of Hoth, who is a good AP fighter that can help punch through that. And a couple of Phoenix Guard are in the mix. Now, the middle objective is owned by Khorne, and the side objective is owned by High Elves, but it looks like it's going to be swept now. Khorne could be threatening a triple cap here. Meanwhile, on the other side, we do see some Illyrian Reavers coming down, and they probably do finish off these Khorne Gores. It's not going to be a freebie. I mean, the Khorne Gores, although they are at 14 leadership, I don't know if their passive already procced. It looks like it did. Okay, so they might get broken very quickly then. We'll have to see. Yeah, they're wavering. If the passive was active then, or if they hadn't popped their unbreakable trait, they might have been able to hold for a while, but yeah, with that charge, you know, still gonna get folded up here, but doing good damage in the process against the Reavers. You know, halberds are halberds. On the middle point, High Elves are in the process of trying to flip this one, so Ricochet is going to be getting that point. He is up on points here. Outside objective is going to be going to the to the forces of the Blood God. We do see 2 Fleshhounds and some Marauder Horsemen, as well as some Minotaurs coming over there. So if Khorne can just find a way to control 2 objectives here, they're certainly going to be chilling. Forsaken arriving, Forsaken will hard counter those guys, and Khorne does have its victory condition. They're only down by, you know, 60 points, give or take, 70 points. So if they can just hold on to these 2 objectives on the outside, they'll win the game. And the High Elf army, they need to partition their forces right now. So probably what the correct play is, Yeah, I mean, a Phoenix Guard over here is good, but it's going to take a while to kill these units. I think you would want to send one of your SEs or some Oceanids over there. So send an Oceanid here, and yeah, trying to play all three for the High Elves would be a mistake. So yeah, he's not playing this objective. Just let Khorne have this one. This is where Khorne has all their strength. Here, you would want to just kind of, send one more unit over there, I think. Because I think the Phoenix Guard, the Sea Elemental, and one of these other 2 units could hold this. To really, really make sure you get this one quick enough. Like, the Sea Elemental should have already been over towards objective 1 to help flip it. Although the Minotaurs of Khorne are certainly good against it, but with Phoenix Guard in play, not bad. Forsaken are going to be trying to screen him off the objective. That's a good play by Bird. Moving in there, getting the screen, keeping the Phoenix Guard from getting the capture weight on the point. Granted, we do have some Reaver Archers over there, which are going to now get some capture weight. And is it going to be quick enough? We do see Death by Ricochet is currently up on points, but not by too much. The 2 victory tickets per second is helping Bird catch up here. Minotaurs coming in to try and take down the Reavers, and the Phoenix Guard did get a order to move through to the point. And now their capture weight is on, which is the correct play. You just want to force path through your opponent, and it will lead to a lot of extra damage. You notice the Forsaken are beating the Phoenix Guard because of that, but still, I do think that is the correct choice. So Bird has objective 3, and over here on objective number 1, it's looking a little bit dodgy for the Blood God. Furies coming in is going to be very nice. You got to stay on that objective. Yeah, you got to stay and fight. You just got to eat the Furies right now, 100%. Phoenix Guard doing what they can, and this objective is going to be flipping to the High Elves here, but will they be able to hold it? The Forsaken are doing a ton of damage because so many of the Phoenix Guard models got their ranks broken, and they're just isolated, being circle beaten by these Forsaken. So that's why that trade is going very badly. And the High Elves do flip the objective. So right now we do see 2 victory tickets per second for Ricochet, as well as the company of Calendarian coming in. And over here, it should be a pretty easy hold. I think you're not going to break this position. This is not going to happen. I think the Sea Elemental should be following, though, like moving with these guys, because Khorne could still flip this point. Yeah, you can see the capture weight comes in their favor. The Phoenix Guard are breaking, but the company of Calendarian might be able to get there and clutch it. We'll have to see. Phoenix Guard are at 6 leadership, fighting to the best of their abilities, but the Furies and the Forsaken doing very good. High Elf mobility quite good, but Khorne is coming over with some capture weight. We do see the High Elves approaching 1,400 points here. Very, very tight game. As a couple Minotaurs thinking about going here, but yeah, you want to leave that Phoenix Guard there and probably just leave the Lore Master of Hoth, honestly. It's going to take them too long to get here. The big Elementals can get there in time with their 60 plus speed, but a 34 movement speed infantry unit, probably not going to be super quick to get there. Man, what a knockdown drag-out game though, dude. Look at this, 1421 against 1357. And Khorne may be going to be able to flip this objective. The Sea Elemental is on its way over, and it will provide only 3 capture weight, but it certainly is something, and could lead to some terror routes when the Frenzy's gone. We'll have to see. Oceanids are coming, and Khorne does manage to get the objectives, but as it currently stands, High Elves do win on just the 1 point. It's very, very close, but High Elves do win by like 5 points or something. So for the High Elf player, I don't know if he's doing the math, but just parking those Phoenix Guard in the middle and hunkering down somewhere is going to be the correct play. Pulling back the Lore Master of Hoth, pulling back the Spearmen, and sending as many light cavalry as you can over towards objective number 2 is going to be the correct play. Silverhelm's coming in here as a split push isn't bad. Silverhelms do dominate Fleshhounds because of the 100 armor, so the Flesh Doggie's going to get charged by the Cav, so a little bit of a threat on that side. Certainly puts some fear in your opponent, but 2 Fleshhounds maybe can do something. Getting a full surround, but no, even still, I think that the Silverhelms win that fight. So back here, guys, we do see the end of the road coming in as the victory tickets are counting up, and the Sea Elemental doing its thing, but Khorne with a nice fight over here. But yeah, what a great game by these 2 players, man. This is amazing. And it looks like some Reavers are going to be jumping over towards that point as well. Going to take some time to get it, but yeah, he's got the victory here on just this 1 point, and that is going to be GG, well played. Victory for Kalidor against the Blood Gods champions. I love seeing the Sea Elemental in action, man. Such a cool monster. And how did it do? Yeah, 2,800. God damn, dude. I think it got most of his value from beating down Silent Angfingrim and also hurting the enemy lord. Oceanids got 1,200, and then we got 700 and 1,200. So Oceanids, I would say, on average, paid for themselves. Phoenix Guard did fine. The last one, not so good. And the Henry Cavill was able to produce some good value, while Alistair kind of got bullied, but yeah, just about paid for himself. 700, 1,200 here. And yeah, the Minotaurs, 2,000 value on those. And then we also have 1,900 and 1,800 here. Great replay, honestly. Super good game. Big shout out to our boy Bird. He was the one who sent in this replay. Not too many people sent in losses, so pretty Chad of him. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be it for tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed this glorious battle. And we'll see you all on the other side.